Ladies and gentlemen, we are live in the first ever podcast episode of the Tiger Kickoff Show. I'm here with our host, our esteemed leader in this project so far, Jacob Siciliano. Where are we right now?
We are in the shed. This is the special place which we call the shed, which I also call my humble abode at home. And I have to share with you today, Mr. Tyson.
Well, you know, I'm always honored when you allow me into this space. There's so many cool things to see. You can see right behind us the story that wasn't. If you're watching on YouTube, you can catch the bottom half of that poster. Jacob, this is not your first time putting together a football-themed broadcast. You got a long history in it. Before we start talking about this new venture, new for me at least, could you explain to the audience what they see behind you?
Yeah, so that's just a little movie poster that I got to be a part of with a great filmmaker named J.J. Measer, and we made a little film about the Missouri 2024 season that came off of the 2023 expectations of that Cotton Bowl that you were a part of, Absolutely. Mr. Tyson Allison.
I certainly was, and you speak about high expectations. If you've been paying attention on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, there are a lot of high expectations for this project which you've taken the helm of, namely the Tiger Kickoff Show. As you can see our bug down below. Jacob, how did this happen? What is the Tiger Kickoff Show for those who are uninitiated?
So the Tiger Kickoff Show has been going on for a long time. It's precedent my time here at Mizzou. It's precedent your time here at Mizzou. Right. Not your time playing football though. It's only 5 years old. But I was taken on to the Tiger Kickoff Show my junior year. There was a guy named Harrison Batnick, great journalist, who's working down in Louisiana now, who had the show before me, did it for the 2023 Cotton Bowl year. And he had a lot of faith in me and entrusted the project to me. And I ran into it last year. We had a lot of fun doing it, had a great group. But this year we're really trying to take things up 12 notches, just not one notch. I mean, we've brought you on, Tyson, to be our insider. Again, for those who might not know, I know some of you are watching on Tyson's YouTube channel if you're following us live here on Instagram. Tyson played Tiger football. He was a linebacker for the Missouri Tigers. He's got a Cotton Bowl ring, which is one of the coolest things that I've ever got to hold in person. It's heavy. That thing is heavy.
Oh yeah.
So we've expanded. Tyson's helping us out on breaking down plays for us, along with being our video editor. We have a social media editor as well. You've probably noticed our presence on social media growing. So again, we're just trying to take these out 12 notches. Part of the reason why is our executive producer, Mr. John Anderson.
Woo!
What a guy.
What a guy.
What a guy. 25 years at ESPN. If you heard of the show named Wipeout, the show with the giant balls, the obstacle courses.
I think I may have seen it.
It's part of our childhood. If you had a Wii, you probably played it.
Yeah.
The animated version of John Anderson. Yeah, that's the guy that is the executive producer, the head of our show. So he, from the top down, is making sure we have our ship straight and on the right course. As we are really trying to make this Tiger Kickoff Show in podcast form, in YouTube form, in every form, the best form we can make it. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time.
Filming in a $750,000 studio with the best out of the best of the journalism students at the University of Missouri, with football experience, professional social media experience. We've got analysts coming straight out of the Missouri and who've been following the Missouri beat for years. I mean, when you talk about putting together a high-quality, professional quality show, you're not going to find anything better on campus than the Tiger Kickoff Show. Episode 1 comes out tomorrow, Jacob. And before we start getting into some of those talking points for the show, I want to know, as our host, what has gone into the work from conception to episode 1 of this season of the Tiger Kickoff Show? Because I know you probably haven't slept in a couple of weeks just trying to get this show on the road.
Well, I'll tell you, Tyson, if I haven't slept, then you haven't slept either. Because none of this that we've done so far would be possible without the work that you put in and the work of so many people. But yeah, what you guys see here on Instagram, what you guys see here on YouTube, what you see that we put out on social media, that 30-second clip that you see can take up to an hour to produce.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes. Everything that you see isn't just, Tyson and I are just talking off our ass.
Right, yeah.
There's a plan, there's a script, it is all pre-produced. I mean, even getting these t-shirts, getting this logo done. I mean, we had to start everything from scratch.
Do you see this, by the way? Oh man, the shirt's so tight.
Great t-shirts, great t-shirts. And shout out 573 Tees for giving us our first sponsorship for this show that has happened in existence. But yeah, this has really been in planning. John and I have been talking about the direction of this show since February. So it's a pretty exciting time that our first show is coming up Monday. And like I said, there's a lot of people. Again, Tyson's our video editing head. I'm our producing and host head, and then we have a person on social media named Tyler Mader who's working on the social media side of things.
Oh yeah.
So again, there's a lot of hard work from a lot of different people going into this, and hopefully it shows up on Monday and the rest of the season.
And speaking of Monday, I mean, what a rollout for the first episode. You want to talk about drama and talking points? We don't know who the starting quarterback is for either team that we're covering in this first game. I mean, think about that. We got Central Arkansas, who, by the way, their most experienced quarterback has 12 completions so far in college football. The next guy doesn't have stats available on ESPN. The coach said if they were to play today, he'd start both guys. Like, he doesn't know who's going to start. So then you look at Mizzou, the SEC opponent, right? Surely more talented, more well put together roster. You still got a QB1 and a QB2 who haven't played a full game of college football. So what are you supposed to do with that information if you're a fan? As an analyst, how do you break this game down?
It's one of those games that you're going to have to see. And, like, we got to be real, too, when we're talking about the expectations for this football game. Because, yes, quarterback matters, right? You have to keep in mind that it is an FCS opponent coming to Missouri.
Right.
Eli Drinkwitz has never lost to an FCS opponent. He's 4-0 against it. The Tigers also, home games have been phenomenal. They've won 16 out of their last 17 games at Faroe, which is nuts. The one loss, if you remember, LSU, Jaden Daniels.
The greatest player I've ever seen in person in college football is the only person to beat us at home. Jaden Daniels.
Which that was a ridiculous game in its own right, and the Tigers had a very clear shot to win that game as well. So the Tigers are great at Faroe, which is currently under construction.
Right.
It's an FCS opponent. Drinkwitz hasn't lost one. Historically, it's very tough for FCS opponents to knock off Power 4 conference opponents, especially in the SEC. So when it comes to breaking down the analytics of the game and like how the quarterback position is going to play out, I don't think you need to read into it too much.
Yeah.
I think more so what fans should be doing is stepping back and watching how Bo plays in real live competition.
Right.
Watching how Sam Horn plays in real live competition and evaluating that more so than how the quarterback position and the competition itself is going to affect the outcome of the game. Because, like you said, Tyson, very well, any given Saturday.
Yep.
The game's on a Thursday.
So it doesn't necessarily apply. Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily apply, but it does. Any team can beat any team. But I think, especially in this scenario, from a fan's point, it's not how the quarterback position is going to affect the game, more so how the game is going to affect the quarterback position.
Absolutely. I think that's the outcome that people are more excited about, especially when the team has been so close to the chest with information regarding the starting quarterback. We don't know who's going to play first. We don't know when. There was a press conference yesterday.
Yes, sir.
They still didn't release a whole lot of information about it.
No, he said he would not.
Right. So they've been very adamant that this is going to be an in-the-building thing. They're not going to release the information, but we will for sure have a starter by week 2. Are you in a position to give a prediction as to who you think might win out that job or what the criteria is to win?
I mean, I'm in this, like, here's the thing. Like, there was a quarterback competition in 2023 between Sam Horn, same guy, and Brady Cook. And it was pretty clear to most people that were close to the Missouri football program and had been around it that Brady Cook was the better quarterback. Brady Cook had the more experience, and Brady Cook was probably going to beat out a younger, inexperienced Sam Horn. Mm-hmm. This, I don't get that feeling. I feel like it is really tight. I mean, the fact that, like, both these guys are named captains.
Right.
Like, that, like, I searched through everything I could find for what captains have been for Missouri over the last, we've been playing football here since 1890.
Right.
I could not find a single instance where Missouri had 2 quarterbacks named as captains.
Yeah,
So I think that alone tells you how tight this thing is. And I'm in the camp with Drinkwitz where it's like, all right, obviously I haven't watched these guys at practice.
Right.
But I trust Drinkwitz when he says, it's so close I can't make a decision. I need to see it live in a game. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be able to see what Drinkwitz sees because, unlike practices, which are all hunkered down, we're able to watch the games.
The whole game.
So we might be able to tell for ourselves who that guy should be. But I kind of share some of that sorrow that sits in the heart of Eli Drinkwitz, where it's like one of these guys, Sam Horn is stuck around this program. He hasn't transferred.
Yeah,
he's dealt with a lot of adversity with his UCL and playing baseball, and he got drafted by the Dodgers, decided to stick with Missouri. Mm-hmm. he might have to sit.
Right.
Bo Prabula could have gone anywhere in the country. He was one of the top transfer quarterback candidates after a good year with Penn State, and obviously he wasn't the one there, but he has like insane athleticism. He could have gone a lot of places, but he chose to come here to Missouri. Why? Because he wants to be the starting quarterback. So one of these guys, by the end of this week, is going to be told, no, you can't. You're not the guy. You can't start a quarterback for the Missouri Tigers, and that's going to be heartbreaking. And I think people need to keep that in mind too. You know, obviously we care a lot about the results in the football field, but we also care about the people. And it is going to be a freaking tough decision. But hopefully we have an answer.
I was skeptical. I'll say, even as somebody who's been in the locker room, I was skeptical that there was a real battle in the coaching staff's mind until you see that the locker room was split too, to vote both of the guys captains. Because like you said, you've got a guy that you bring in as super talented. The team has a reason to be hopeful if you watch his tape. Then you've got a guy who's stuck around and been with the program for 3 years now. And so, obviously, he's familiar. Back in 2023, I will say, I was partial to Brady Cook just because when I was getting recruited in high school, I went to the Armed Forces Bowl, and they were practicing down in TCU. He threw me a touchdown pass. So I actually caught a touchdown pass from Brady Cook way back when. So I was like, yeah, that's my guy. That's who I want to be the starting quarterback back then. But
I think that's a good point, though. And we should touch on that a little bit more, especially you being in a locker room during a quarterback competition. I think something that's really valuable for fans, people that watch back home, it's like, well, what is that like? Being in a room where there's two guys, is the locker room split? Does that affect the team's performance overall?
I think what people often misunderstand is there's not a split in the locker room where there's a civil war. This is my guy, this is yours. And we're going to volley or we're going to fight for who our guy should be, right? That's left up to the position coach. What you have is you have receivers who are trying to get used to two different throwing tempos, two different cadences and mannerisms. And you've got running backs who are still trying to get on the same page as far as when you're going to pull, when you're going to keep. As far as quarterback tendencies, in a position battle, while you're forcing your opponent to prepare for two different guys, you're also in a locker room and an offense that's operating with two very different personalities. Your personality as a quarterback has a lot to do with how you play, and the spin on the ball is different. So the faster you get that figured out, the faster the offense can say, okay, this is what we need to be focusing on. This is the mentality we need to go into the game with. And if you don't have that and your quarterbacks aren't very similar, that's when you can start running into problems. Luckily, we've got the perfect setup for a job interview. Like you said, FCS opponent is a tier below. This is not a game where you're gearing up for SEC conference play and you're like, we need to be at 100%, the margin for error is super tight. It's not. And I love a lot of what I see out of the athletes at Central Arkansas and the competition they play. This is not that. This is the
military drills that they've been doing.
Oh my goodness gracious. We'll get to that in a second. But what you have is you have an extra week before the biggest rivalry game in history to decide that, and then a full practice week with your QB1. So I wouldn't necessarily be concerned about a locker room split or how this is going to affect morale, because even if I'm sitting there and I think Bo should be our guy, and Sam wins after week 1, we've got a better quarterback than Bo Prabula on our roster, and that's who's playing. So you know, like, the skill level, especially if it's been that tight, for Coach Drinkwitz to say there's separation, and the locker room's going to understand that too. Now, speaking of social media, well, we know what we know because we've been at the practice and we've been at the games. On social media, we saw how Central Arkansas has been preparing for this Mizzou game in a couple of different facets, right? We've seen on social media that their fall camp was very, very intense. Some might even call it boot camp. Jacob, how do you think that carrying your teammate in the sand on all fours is going to translate into the first game of the season?
Well, it's really funny that we bring this up because I was talking to one of my friends who just got out of basic training this summer. He officially is a Marine. Congrats to Dylan Giedel.
Congrats, Dylan.
Congrats to Dylan. And what he was describing to me of crawling through the mud, carrying rucksacks, doing all these types of field exercises is exactly what we've been seeing from Central Arkansas as they prepare to take on the Tigers. And hey, you know what? I don't blame them, right? Like, they know the statistics. They know the odds of coming into Faroe Field and knocking off an SEC opponent in week 1. And you know what? If it takes military drills to do it, then so be it. But it is funny to watch some of these football players crawling through sand like they're going under a barbed wire fence.
For those who aren't familiar, we're referring to a TikTok video posted by a Central Arkansas player. I keep getting tagged in these. It's actually funny. We haven't posted our first episode of the show. People are aware of the Tiger Kickoff show in Arkansas because I keep getting tagged on these posts. They were talking about their fall camp and first week of practice training. They were tied to each other at the hip with a rope so that they would all keep the same pace, running around the stadium in reps, right? And you know they got the music going and they're dancing. Then they go to like a volleyball pit, a sand pit. You've got one player under chest. So if Jacob's doing it with me, I would have grabbed Jacob right here. Jacob is crawling across the sand with me underneath him like just dead weight. And that was another drill they were doing. They went to the woods somewhere. They were outside just in piles of dirt doing push-ups in the dirt. I don't know what the advantage of is that for that as compared to doing push-ups in the gym. But they were doing them outside in the woods, building that wilderness brotherhood like Coach Drink was talking about 2 years ago. You remember the wilderness brotherhood?
I have heard of the wilderness.
So they are building a wilderness brotherhood. They also posted that they were 8 days away from Mizzou country, or they were headed into war. Right? This is going to be a war. So maybe basic training is preparing for the war that it's about to be at Faurot Field. But you know, I feel like one thing I realized from that press conference, which we brought up earlier, is there's a lot of connections in the coaching world. I don't know if you heard Drink in his first question answer. Like, he has connections in Central Arkansas. What does that say to you about just the community of sport and how even though these two teams are playing against each other, like people are brought together by football? I just thought that was special. Do you have any?
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about sports. I mean, I don't know why necessarily you got into sports journalism. I think I know. Maybe you can give your answer in a minute. But, I mean, for me, like, sports my entire life has been a way to make friends. It's been a way to meet people. And it's cool to see that stuff translate on the higher level. Because when you're playing younger, you know, Little League baseball or Pee Wee football, you know, going even into high school, it's competitive. You want to win. But a lot of times it's about having fun. It's about making friends. When you start getting into the SEC, you have jobs on the line. You have people with families.
Millions
of dollars, right? So to see those type of things where, you know, a coach has a connection, where a guy that he coached with, his son is now playing, and he's able to stop and say, man, that is so awesome. Like, I'm so happy for him. Or I remember Coach Drinkwitz, he was at App State before he came to Mizzou.
Yeah.
Last year there was a hurricane out in near the Appalachians, near Boone, North Carolina, and it was all flooded, and it was terrible. And he took time in his presser to talk about the victims there and the families that he knew that were struggling, and asking people to send prayers and donations if possible to help those people. So it's awesome to see when connections from people's past, especially when they're sports tied, continue into the professional side of sports. Because I think you can argue, and you know, maybe this is outside of my pay grade here, but college athletics is almost becoming pro with NIL and the stuff that we're seeing now. It's not like we are in an amateur setting anymore with the world of NIL.
Amateur football in college has died. But that's exactly the one I wanted to bring up. Imagine you're coaching with somebody and their kid is 4 and 5 years old watching practice. Now you're coaching against that same player, especially when they're at the caliber that Malachi Henry is. I mean, freshman All-American, no matter what league you're playing in, that's impressive. And so he's like being able to see that growth and watch it, and now you get to see in fruition another person's journey while you've been on your own. I think moments like that are so special. There's been players that I've coached or played against, or for example, Langdon Kitchen is a new defensive end over at Mizzou. We threw shot put against each other. He was at Western High School, I was at Boonville. And so we thought that was the only time our paths would ever cross, just through sport. Now I'm going to be covering him while he's continuing to chase his dream over as a Mizzou Tiger. So I think that sports connections are so special. And another sports connection that I have that was pretty unique was I got to interview Noah Tice in Nashville at the Music City Bowl. We actually have footage of an interview conducted a couple of months ago, back in January, or what was it, December? Yeah, December we were in Nashville.
Yeah, December.
And so the starting defensive tackle for Central Arkansas happened to be right outside Hattie B's where I was at. Delicious.
Love Hattie B's. If you go to Nashville, go to Hattie B's. I think I've eaten Hattie B's. Their chicken sandwiches there, really good.
Yeah.
Every single time I've gone to Nashville.
And so despite being our first opponent when we got back from our trip in Nashville, do you know what me and Noah Tice talked about off camera?
I don't know what you talked about off camera.
On camera, we talked about his journey through high school. We talked about We were going to play each other week 1. We talked about who we thought was going to win. By the way, he picked Mizzou to beat Iowa. I thought that was pretty cool. So, he does know ball. Noah Tice is an official ball knower. We can put that in the caption when we put this clip out.
You got another ring to show for it.
Oh yeah, sure do. Man, that one fits here. Cotton Bowl fits here. A hand gets heavy. That's what I did all that lifting for in college.
Yeah, just to hold your rings. Yeah.
Right. But
you need a couple more to get all the Infinity Stones.
I don't know how I'm gonna have to buy them off people. I'm done. But while I was there, Noah Tice, our very next opponent, was giving me relationship advice. He was with his fiance at the time, and he was telling me about how they had gotten engaged. And I've got a long-time girlfriend.
Yes, you
so
do.
I was like, how do you know when's the time? And he goes, sometimes you just know. And he's like, it's not like sports where you can practice and you can prepare for it and you can have it right down. He's like, trust me, bro, I was nervous too, and I thought I knew the answer. But one thing that you got to remember in a relationship that's different than sports is there's a lot more trust in a relationship than on a football field. I was like, that's really profound, Noah.
That is kind of crazy.
That's kind of profound. He was like, sometimes you just got to know. And his whole family was out there. His dad actually was holding the camera for the interview. It was just funny enough. But yeah, that was an experience that I would have never had without sports. It has nothing to do with the sport. But I think that's just the magic of football. And I hope that's something that, even though we're outside of amateur football, is something that doesn't fall away from college football. Now, given all that, given how great Noah was, it's Mizzou versus Central Arkansas.
Yep.
Let's get into some of those analytics that we said are not going to be hard to navigate. You've got freshmen with 1,350 yards at ULM.
Yep.
Transfers to the University of Missouri. The outside zone scheme. He knows it very well. What do you expect out of Ahmad Hardy against an FCS defense?
Well, we have to keep in mind, too, Hardy's coming into a running back room. On the depth chart in here, we have this is our little Missouri football cheat sheet that we were handed out at the presser yesterday. Mm-hmm. There's a depth chart on here as well. A couple positions that there's still battles in, right?
Absolutely.
And one of them is, and this is the case for most of football, is the running back rooms have kind of evolved to multi-headed dragons.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And Jamal Roberts is still listed as one of the top running backs along with Hardy. But you're talking about a guy who tore it up last year, had 1,000 rushing yards after contact.
Goodness
had
gracious.
1,300 rushing yards.
Yeah.
1,000 of those 1,300 were after contact.
That's ridiculous.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is an absolute tank. Yesterday at the press conference, one of the reporters asked him a question. So, would you rather juke a guy and have the ball flying on his face, or really just run a guy over? And he goes, run that guy over.
Absolutely.
That's the type of running back he is. He's nose to the ground. He's still extremely agile, but he's a guy that will run through your chest and run straight through you into the end zone. So I think we will see a good deal of the run game. That's what Drinkwood said he really wanted to establish, because that helps out your quarterback position a lot too.
Yeah.
But Kirby Moore, offensive coordinator for the Missouri Tigers, he has a game plan in mind, and I'm sure that game plan is going to be testing these quarterbacks as well. Because as much as you want to establish the run game, I think when you have a running back room like Jamal Roberts and Ahmad Hardy, you're going to be able to do a lot of what you want from, like you said, an outside zone, run scheme, a great offensive line, 2 solid running backs. But the goal for this game is, if there is no separation between your 2 quarterbacks going into KU, you almost lost.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, if both quarterbacks play extremely well, that's great. If both quarterbacks play extremely bad, that's not great. But you kind of hope there's a medium in between where there's a clear answer after week 1, so everyone can kind of accept it. Because if both guys play extremely well, if both guys throw for 200 yards and 2 touchdown passes, or 3 touchdown passes, it doesn't make your decision much easier.
You still haven't found your starter.
Right? So, and I do want to address our fellows here on Instagram. If you're listening in, this is the Tiger Kickoff Show podcast.
Yes.
This is our first ever podcast. We got our first show coming up on Monday. But this is our extended format where we get to talk everything Missouri Tiger football. If you've got questions for us, Tyson Ellison right here, former Missouri Tiger linebacker,
MIZ,
is happy to answer any questions that we got going. So if you want to ask questions, feel free to ask questions as we continue to talk about Missouri's matchup against Central Arkansas. But again, running game, important. I think the Tigers can establish it. I think the Tigers will establish it. But I think the main questions of this game are separation for quarterbacks and see how this defense plays out.
Oh my gosh, we have so much to talk about on that side of the ball. Coach Drinkwitz wants to get these tight ends involved vertically.
Yeah.
He said that in multiple press conferences this summer. Kirby Moore, genius, right, of the offense. He's going to be able to put something together. I expect a breakout season from Brett Norfleet this year. He showed out his freshman year, no doubt. Played through some injury, right? Wasn't necessarily the best Brett Norfleet he could be sophomore year. Now you've got a young quarterback. No matter which way you look at it, not super polished, not a whole lot of starting experience. When you play the video game college football or Madden, and you're not
I
sure,
got cooked yesterday.
and you're not sure about who your quarterback is that 6-7 option not the best choice for a safety valve? I went back and I watched so much film from last year, from both Central Arkansas's defense and from the offense that Mizzou runs. That tight end slip when you run outside zone and you run outside zone and you come to play action and you've got somebody who road grades people like Brett or Jordan Harris. I mean,
Yep.
the most dangerous blocker I ever went against at practice was Jordan, and that's
He
including.
is a fantastic blocking tight end.
So
He
then,
can clean up the drop passes. He's going to be good.
oh man. And so then when you've got a team that runs a bare front with 5 people at the defensive line, then you account another linebacker that's going to come and take down the tight end because you're running 5 for 5 if you're Central Arkansas's defense. Then if they have a tight end attached, you have to bring somebody down. If they run outside zone, you've got to have a linebacker to play that outside leverage, right? Keep the cut, people say all the time, to make sure he's got that outside edge. So now he tries to shed that block. That's 6 people at the line of scrimmage. Jordan's gone. Somebody's got to account for Ahmad Hardy, and now you've got a mobile quarterback. It's basically 4-on-4, 3-on-3 out in the upfield past the defensive line, and Brett Norfleet's going to hurdle the first guy.
He does like to hurdle.
So what?
There's pressing lines control.
So when you've got a outside zone that's that dangerous, and you've got a tight end that's that reliable in Brett, and that dangerous to tackle, and a mobile quarterback, I don't think there's a defense that we've seen from Central Arkansas that can possibly stop all of those options.
I mean, I don't think it's a hot take to say this, but I mean, I believe this for a long time. If Brett Norfleet can play a full season, I think he is potentially a first or second round draft pick.
Yeah.
If he, like, his issue is health. Like, the guy is a freak of nature. He's huge. I've seen him at Olive Garden several times. Hey, and I'll say this. You know, this is an off record. It's on record. The 2023 Mizzou basketball team, the team that went 0-18, I guess it was 2023, 2024.
Yeah.
I've never seen a basketball team at Olive Garden more in my life. So I think there was a correlation there.
Yeah.
Nick Honor was a big fan of the breadsticks.
Huh.
Yeah. But Brett, I've seen him at Olive Garden a few times. He's huge.
Yeah.
The guy is a freak of nature. You've played with him. You've probably stacked up against him a time or two before. If he stays healthy, what he can do on a football field will translate to the NFL. But again, that issue for him is staying healthy.
Yeah.
And Jordan Harris, fantastic blocking tight end.
But I still
Huge dude as well.
My ears still ring at night from Jordan hitting me at practice.
It's a good morning, Tyson.
Yeah.
But if he can catch a couple passes, he had some struggles with the drops last year.
Yes.
If he can hang on to the football, and Brett Norfleet can be healthy, this is a tight end group that can really make a difference for the Tigers this year. We ran a little segment, and we had a practice show for the Tiger Kickoff show a couple days ago. And one of the questions, which I guess this is a little teaser for you guys that are listening to the Tiger Kickoff Show podcast here, that we're going to be talking about is strength, weakness, and unknown.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the biggest unknowns is this Missouri Tigers tight end room, simply because we didn't get to see too much of it last year. And we have 2 young quarterbacks. We don't know which one's going to start. 2 experienced quarterbacks, 2 unexperienced quarterbacks. Unexperienced quarterbacks like to dump off to their tight ends.
Absolutely.
2 fantastic tight ends. If they can stay healthy, they're going to be good, we think.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily know. It's kind of an unknown. And that was the consensus of our beat writers who make up the 3 other spots on the Tiger Kickoff Show outside of, our former Missouri Tiger football player, insider Tyson Ellis.
That's how you know that our beat writers know ball. I feel like that tight end room is the room in this team that is not getting the respect it deserves. Because, like you said, health has held them back for years in a row. I think that's a group that can make such a difference, especially if you talk about subverting expectations, going higher than 8-4, 9-3. You're going to have to rely on having a safety valve outside of the running back. You just have to become more versatile in the plays that you can call. And the tight end room allows you to weaponize a brand new position in the pass game and make that run game with Marquise Davis, with T-Man, with Jamal Roberts, with Ahmad Hardy back there, galloping for touchdowns, right, all season. I just think this offense is so special. But even saying that, my anticipation for this offense does not come close to comparing to how I feel about this 2025 defense. Jacob, what can you say about this front seven specifically that Mizzou's putting on the field this year?
I mean, Chris McClellan last year, dog. I mean, well, I want to go back. Let's fast forward to 2023 to 2024, start of last season.
Sure.
Blake Baker,
Yeah.
credited with one of the best Missouri defenses of all time in 2023.
Death row. That's what he said.
Do you sing it, or is it
yeah.
like a song?
Do
Do you have a good singing voice, Tyson?
No, I don't. That's why
I don't
know
know sing.
do it. But yeah, death row. That's what they call them, and that's our little calling card before they go out on the field. You wouldn't know, but
I mean, I've heard of it.
Yeah, death row defense.
But yes, you get shirts.
Yeah.
Are they cool? Are they better than these?
Yes.
They're a lot better than these.
No.
No. Okay, but that's good.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. Do you even know how that started? Death row defense.
Death row defense. Yes. When you line up on death row, you're about to die. That's very simple. When you line up and you're on death row, you don't have a whole lot of time left. So then you look at it, Zion Young,
Yeah.
Darius
Dog.
Smith, Damon Wilson.
Well, I should say, definitely not a cat.
Definitely not a cat.
Definitely
That's
not
a
a
tiger, right? That's an alpha right there.
Zion Young is a tiger.
Yeah, Zion Young is not a little kitty cat.
For those who don't know the reference at SEC Media Days, Zion Young told one of the reporters I was with, a girl named Savannah Avery, that when she asked about the term they were using, alpha males, he replied, "Would you want to date a? Would you want to date a? Would you want to date a cat? No. You want to date a tiger?
Yeah.
Yeah." And it went viral.
Right.
It blew up.
So Zion Young, we know he's not a little kitty cat.
No, he's
coming off
a tiger.
the defensive
I
line.
mean, that guy basically won Missouri's football game against Oklahoma.
Yeah, I don't think there's an argument against that. He won us the game. So you got Zion, you got Darius, you got Damon Wilson coming out of Georgia.
Yeah.
Then you got Chris McClellan,
Former 5-star.
Like, what are you supposed to do against them? And then behind them, Josiah Trotter, Khalil Jacobs, Tristan Newsom, Dalen Carnell. No matter which way you slice it, you've got the experience, you've got the previous reps, and you've got film that tells you you cannot block all of these people. I don't think there's a way to game plan against them. What do you expect out of this defense against an FCS offense?
I mean, well, last year the question was, what's this Tigers defense going to be?
Right.
And in their first two games, first one was against Murray State, an FCS opponent, scores 51-0.
I think they set the tone, and I think Murray State lost that game on that surprise onside to start the game. With 14 minutes and 58 seconds left in the game, it was over. Because of that hit by Champ. Oh my goodness, bro. So yeah, they set the tone there. That's what I mean. Death row, you got Champ, Corey Flagg. You don't have a lot of time left. You line up against it. I think 3 seconds went off the clock and the game was over because he murdered the kicker. Yeah.
Hey, death row defense, right? You know,
and now you reload.
There's some murder in death, I think, right? Yeah.
And now you reload. You replace Corey Flagg with Josiah Trotter out of West Virginia.
Yep.
Then you return Tristan Newsom. Thanks to Diego Pavia. Appreciate you, Diego Pavia. Right? You get those JUCO eligibility years back.
Yep.
Dalen Carnell. Who some people will point to as the leader of this team, the hybrid player, your star.
Yeah.
He can blitz.
Great.
He can cover. He can stop the run. I think he had a great year last year. I don't think it would be a breakout year if he overperformed this year, but I see it happening. He's going to overperform, and you don't come back right after you've played this much football unless you think your best year is ahead.
You got Trevez still around too. As well.
Trevez, Trevez Johnson.
Trevez Johnson, yeah. He's a guy that has played for a while.
Yeah.
On this Missouri Tigers team, ton of experience behind him. Great defensive back.
Then you've got Toriano Pride.
Oh, lockdown corner.
Lockdown corner. Music City Bowl. Iowa knows he's a lockdown corner.
And Iowa would know about lockdown corners.
Who are you referring to exactly?
A little Super Bowl winning champion, Philadelphia Eagle.
Cooper DeJean.
Cooper DeJean.
Of course. Yes, Iowa. Is that Iowa's best corner? I feel like they've had a couple of decent.
Well, he's the first white cornerback in the NFL, and how long, Tyson?
To get a pick six in the Super Bowl, especially like.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best corners to come out of Iowa. And I'm not an expert in the black and gold of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Just the black and gold of Mizzou.
But I mean, Super Bowl champion, like you said, the pick six.
It'd be hard to debate it against Patrick Mahomes. How many people have had a pick six against Patrick Mahomes?
Hopefully a lot this year.
Well, the list is for now. I'm going to start with Cooper DeJean. Yeah.
Hey, all I'm going to say, big Bears fan here. The Bears beat the Chiefs.
In the pre-season. The season has not started yet. It's 0-0.
The Bears beat the Chiefs, okay?
The record is 0-0. As much as I want to cheer for the Bears, because Luther Burden III is now a Bear, you make it really hard to be a fan of the Bears.
It's okay. I just have to remind you, Tyson's a Carolina Panthers fan, that they engaged in the worst trade in history of the NFL with us and gave us DJ Moore.
I have no recollection.
Oh, you've already forgotten it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hopefully Bryce Young works out for you.
Yeah, hopefully. Now, Jacob, you're used to hosting the show.
Yes.
Right? Typically, you're fishing for answers. I'm putting you on the spot right now. Before we get to our show Monday, I gotta know, how high is the bar for this Mizzou football team before they either overperform or they're a disappointment? Where's your sweet spot? I don't want an exact prediction, but where's your sweet spot of, okay, this is about the season I expected from Mizzou?
Okay, so, I mean, I think a lot of this can come from the quarterback position, but if you really want my honest take, I think if Sam Horn starts or Bo starts, I think it's going to be a somewhat similar result.
Yeah?
I feel like, maybe starting the right quarterback earns you a game. Maybe, if you're really stretching it, 2 wins.
Mm-hmm.
But I think by choosing the right guy, I don't think there's a ton of separation between these 2 quarterbacks. I think both of them could probably run this offense fairly well. I think for the Tigers, this schedule, when you go through it, there's only a few games that you circle, and it's like, this one is going to be really tough for the Tigers to win.
There's a real possibility that they win 6 of their 6 first home games.
There's really only 2 games that I'm really actively concerned about.
So they win 10 games to you?
I mean, Alabama, right? I'm concerned about, very concerned about that game.
I mean, it's Alabama.
It's for a lot of good reasons. It's Alabama.
They've earned that, yeah.
And I think Kalen DeBoer is going to come back, and I think he's going to come back with a vengeance for Vandy this year. I really do. I think they're going to figure things out. I think they're going to be good. And then Texas A&M.
Hey, you have been on the Jumbotron at Texas A&M. You know, one thing Jacob will never brag about himself, right? Jacob has so much influence in the media world.
I do not.
He's had tweets play from state to state. He's been the update guy. He actually played a very important role in a Mizzou football game last season. Jacob, I'll let you tell this story. You know, this is about you.
There are other people that tweet the same thing. It was a Mizzou football press conference, Texas A&M. Their big thing there at Kyle Field is the 12th man.
Absolutely.
So they're very big on, we have the best fans and we have the loudest fans, and they do their midnight dances and all the weird Texas A&M.
He's really knowledgeable about this. That's great journalism.
I had to be, because I had 650,000 Texas A&M fans in my throat. But we were talking about the noise at practice. That was one of the big things that week against Texas A&M going to Kyle Field.
Yeah.
Missouri, they're playing the same schedules they played last year. It's kind of weird, except they're playing, Texas A&M at Thoreau Field this year. They played at Kyle Field last year. 12th man, it's supposed to be a really loud atmosphere, right? That's what they pride themselves on. You can't even hear the snap count. So obviously, as reporters, we're asking about it, and there's questions like, how are you guys dealing with the noise at Kyle Field, right? The atmosphere. And Drinkwitz and Brady Cook talked about how they're bringing in these giant speakers, and you could see the speakers. I was at practice; they were pretty giant.
Yeah, dude. Listen, I've had to stand next to them. They are loud too.
That they're giant and they're loud. And basically, what Brady Cook said in a longer context was that, in his experience playing at games, the speakers are actually louder than the fans themselves, but that because the speaker was right behind his ear, from his experience, again, Kroger Field in Kentucky, I was there, sold out crowd, 60,000 fans. That was a loud environment.
Yeah.
I was on the field. I heard the roar. I don't know if it's similar to Kyle Field. I wasn't there or not. But I trust Brady Cook when he says that the speakers were louder than what he's experienced in games before.
Sure.
Texas A&M took it personal. So my job as a reporter, right, is to put out information. So obviously I tweeted what Brady Cook said. I put a little quote like it's louder at practice, and then threw in a video, maybe a little clickbaity, but threw the video of what Cook said, the full statement of what he was talking about. And Texas A&M fans took it and run with it. To this day, a lot of respect for Texas A&M fans for the amount that tweet blew up, because it had over 600,000 views on it. I don't even want to talk about how many comments. It got ugly, and apparently I got a text from our reporter for Channel 8 who went out that they threw my tweet on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
That it was louder at practice than at Kyle Field, which got a big roar from the 12th man there at Kyle Field. So Texas A&M fans, when you come here, we're going to have to show you our version of the 12th man, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which does not include the North End Zone at the moment.
Yeah, it's that was rough. But as journalists, it was inspiring to see that the things you say and put out there, they get received by the audience. Sometimes not the audience that you intend. So Alabama and Texas A&M are the two games that you circle and say.
Two games that I'm really concerned about. Auburn always is a team that can be scary, but just going through the schedule here, right? Central Arkansas should be a win unless it's Armageddon. Realistically, that's what should happen is the Tigers pull out a win in that game.
Let's hope so.
Kansas game.
Let's hope so.
Kansas. It's the return of a rivalry that dates back to that dates back to the Civil War.
Yeah.
The blood between KU and Mizzou is deep. It goes way back. I think their first game they ever played was 1911 or something along those lines. Long time ago. They brought in speakers to educate the Tigers about the history of this series, and that game, a lot of pressure on the line. I still think Missouri's a better football team.
We saw yesterday that Kansas defense roll out for the first time. I think we talked about some of the weapons on this Mizzou roster, and I think it's going to be another field day. Continue.
No, but just especially with this Tigers team and what they're looking like this year on defense, and what potentially we can see from offense. Again, we still don't know who the quarterback is, but I think they roll through a little KU. Hopefully. I'm biased. I'm a Mizzou fan. That's what I want. I hate Kansas. Kansas, I hope you're not from Kansas if you're watching this. You know what? If you are, I don't care. I hate Kansas. Anyway, moving on. Louisiana. I drove through it the other day. What's in Kansas? Nothing.
Yeah.
It felt like I was playing Minecraft, flat world mode.
Oh yeah. When it's
it was
3 blocks deep and just
endless. Yeah. I was like, what is happening? I was like, I'm from Illinois, guys.
Yeah.
I'm from a place that's very flat.
Yeah.
Somehow Kansas is flatter.
Yeah, it's a snooze fest. If there's one pro for the self-driving cars, it's that you can just lean back and you don't have to look at just the same thing over and over again through Kansas. That's the only time I don't trust this stuff.
You know what's deceiving too is because I was driving through Kansas to get to Colorado.
Yeah.
Eastern Colorado, just like Kansas.
Really?
Would not recommend. But once you get to Denver, it's beautiful. Rockies, right there.
What about once we get to Louisiana?
Once we get to Louisiana, the ramifications. I'm not worried.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about Louisiana. South Carolina, that was a great game last year. That could be a game to keep an eye on.
But you said you're not worried about it.
I'm not too worried about it. You're playing a game at home here. The Tigers went to South Carolina last year.
Yeah.
It was an extremely close game, and everything was on the line for the Tigers. If the Tigers won that game, they actually would have had a shot to be in the college football playoff.
I think they made it if they didn't lose that game.
If they don't lose that game, they have a genuine shot to be in the college football playoff. And unfortunately, they scored with like 40-something seconds. You can watch that documentary back there, and we go in depth about it. But, they drove the field. The secondary collapsed. South Carolina wins. Ends Missouri's season for the college football playoff and their hunt there. But South Carolina comes to Faurot Field. Again, the Tigers are 16-17 at home. They have owned South Carolina historically. I think that they've held the Mayor's Cup for 5 years before they lost that game in South Carolina. They roll on Faurot. I think South Carolina will be a win. UMass, we're not talking about UMass. I went out to Massachusetts last year. If the Tigers lose to UMass, they got bigger issues. Especially at home. I was out there at that game. That game was a blowout in UMass.
Can I tell you a story about the UMass game last year?
I would love to hear a story about the UMass game last year.
So every game, when we do our blitz pickup circuits at Mizzou, they play the opposing team's fight song or their big third down sound. So we'll play Mo Bamba at a time, or we'll play the noise like the. So we find other teams and we see what their soundboard looks like at their games, and we play that exact sound on third downs so that our quarterbacks can be used to communicating with that cadence. Like you said, the speaker's right behind them. Do you know the sound they played for our UMass game?
Silence?
You can find it on YouTube. Crickets.mp4. That cricket sound effect that you hear on TikTok soundboards when you say a joke and it's not funny. We listened to that for 25 straight minutes at practice because he said, you got to prepare for the environment at UMass. And that's what it was.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Drinkowitz is a funny guy. I don't know him on a personal level at all.
Yeah.
But do you have any stories of Drinkowitz just being hilarious? He seems like he's kind of a goofy dude. In a good way.
Yes. Some of them I will not share on this podcast. What I will say is when people refer to Drink as a player's coach, that's the truth. Like, he is for the team. He does such a great job initiating that team culture. Do you know why you're able to bring in so many transfers and be successful? It's because you have a coach that's personable and is able to spark those conversations. One of the first things we do when we show up on campus and we have that first meeting is you stand up and you go shake someone's hands you haven't met. And there's an expectation by the end of that period, be it fall camp, be it spring training, you know every player's name on the team and where they're from. It's on everybody's lockers. You can see it as you're walking by. But he does a great job making sure that the team is brought together, not just on the field but off it. And he's like the example. He's a lead by example guy. You can go up to him and talk to him about anything. He's an open door to his team. He's transparent. I love playing under Drake.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. And I'm sure you got plenty of stories that maybe we can get into another time.
Yeah.
When it comes to Alabama, again, that's a game I'm really concerned about. Auburn, sneaky. That's a sneaky team. But if you remember what happened last time we played at Auburn, do you remember what happened last time we played Auburn? You were not in Mizzou.
No, I was watching on TV while I was working at George's Pizza and Steak. Actually, I was sweeping the floors while we were in overtime and dropped the broom. I can't. You have to tell the story.
The Tigers easily could have won the game. Long story short, Harrison Nevis missed a very, very makeable field goal, and the Tigers lost. And that was the 2022 season. We don't need to talk too much about it.
Yeah, please.
We're on much better. But Auburn is a sneaky team at Auburn. That's a game the Tigers potentially could drop. But again, it's not one that I'm sitting here being like, oh my gosh, I'm losing sleep over Auburn. I'm losing sleep over Alabama. I'm losing sleep over Texas A&M. I'm not losing sleep over South Carolina. I'm not losing sleep over Auburn. And the reason I'm not losing sleep, and you might be saying, Jacob, those are good teams.
They are good teams.
Why are you not super worried about them? It's because if this Tigers team is actually legitimate, they should beat those teams.
Yes.
You have to beat the teams that you're playing in the SEC, right? That is what it is. I think it's really funny that I think it was Arizona State's coach said you need teams to be 3-9. Be happy if you're a 3-9 team because you need teams to be 3-9. Which is really funny because I'm a big guy that believes you should be happy where you're at, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, if the Tigers are not a good football team this year, then they're not a good football team this year, right? They're not going to beat the teams that they should have a competitive match against, right? And that's what South Carolina is to me. That's what Auburn is to me. Those games are the games that are going to tell you if this Tigers team is legit or not. Mm-hmm. Alabama, if you lose to Alabama,
you lost to Alabama.
You lost to Alabama. They're a very good program. But when it comes to the games like Auburn, when it comes to the games like South Carolina, if you want to prove yourself that you are a team that potentially could make a college football playoff run, a team that is going to be at the top of the SEC every single year, even when this potentially could be a slower year for the Tigers, you have to beat those teams.
Right.
So Auburn is a team that I think the Tigers should beat on the road. Again, last year that was the Brady Cook game. It was freaking phenomenal. Going to Vanderbilt, Tigers should be beating Vandy every year at this point. You know, nothing against Vandy, nothing against Diego Pavia. I think Diego's a fantastic quarterback, but that's a team that the Tigers should knock off. Texas A&M doesn't worry me. Game's at home, which is nice. But yeah, that's the game that the Tigers easily could drop. Mike Elko's got a heck of a squad.
Yes.
Mississippi State is a game that the Tigers should win every year.
We took their best player off their team.
Yeah. Kevin Coleman, transfer wide receiver for the Tigers. If you're wondering who's going to replace Luther Burden, Theo Weiss, and Mookie Cooper, Kevin Coleman.
The best player from Mississippi State.
And I think he was top 5 in receiving in the SEC last year as well.
I think so, and I think that he won the games that they did win, and because Kevin Coleman was on the team. I think this is a contender for the worst team in the SEC this season. Do you disagree?
No.
Yeah, I think Mississippi State is in a rough patch. Thank you for the win this season. Thanks to the schedule makers for handing us Mississippi State.
Well, I love how you give like the preference. Like anyone can win. It's Central Arkansas and then Mississippi State, the SEC team. You're like, thank you for that win, good sir.
Here's the thing. I have never seen Central Arkansas play.
Okay.
I was on the team when we played Mississippi State. One is an unknown, which is also the game that's upcoming. We got to build tension. This part of our job is to build up the excitement for the game ahead.
Right? The tension is the quarterback battle.
Sure. We're going to beat Central Arkansas. In case there's any confusion on my film analysis or where I'm pointing out the best players per team, in case you thought that meant I thought the game was close because you didn't watch the video till the end, there is no possible reality where we lose this game. I say that very confidently, knowing that an FCS team has beat an FBS team before. It will not happen on Thursday. I also think that Mississippi State got worse this year than they were last year, and we beat them handedly last year, and we're reloading a defense that's stronger.
Okay, Tyson. You seem very confident, which is awesome. How confident are you to take Mississippi State to the grave that the Tigers will win? Now, if you guys are wondering why I'm talking like that, Take It to the Grave is a segment that we're going to be debuting on Monday, which we will have our 3 very unfortunate beat writers make predictions, and if they're wrong, we have a wheel, which we will be unboxing here in a little bit, that is the wheel of misfortune, and they will spin the wheel and have to do a punishment. So you seem very confident that the Tigers will beat Mississippi State handily. Do you have a punishment in mind to give to yourself if the Tigers lose to Mississippi State?
Here's what we'll do. I will write the punishments as soon as we end the show. We'll come up with the punishments. That way I can spin the wheel just like everyone else.
All right, Tyson.
I am taking to the grave. In fact, put me in my grave if Mississippi State finds a way to beat this University of Missouri team. Sure, there's unknowns. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. We know who the front 7 of this defense is. We know we've got Jalen Catalon from Arkansas, who's now a team captain. That's going to be in the secondary. We know we've got a 1,000-yard rusher previously in the best run game in the SEC. You look at Cody Schrader, you look at Marcus Carroll. We've got a third guy who said,
last year,
I would much rather run somebody over. Right? So we're going to keep that train rolling. Brett Norfleet is older. Josh Manning's going to have a breakout season this year. Just write that down. Go bet on it if you're a sports bettor. Josh Manning's going to have a breakout year this year. James Madison you'll get to see. Marquise Johnson is still that same deep threat, but now he's got more confidence. He's got another year of training under his belt. A freak of nature Marquise Johnson's going to be.
That guy, like, unbelievably fast, just to put in perspective. I've seen him run. He caught the Luke Bauer against Kentucky a couple of years ago. Had a fake pass touchdown to Marquise Johnson when the Tigers were trailing 14-0. That guy is unbelievably fast. In high school, he won the 100-meter in the state of Texas. And if you know anything about Texas sports, it's like, how many athletes are in Texas?
Yeah.
A lot. There's a lot.
There's a lot of Texas.
Yeah, this is impressive.
I will tell you that Marquise Johnson is going to be great no matter who the quarterback is. and I will be correct. In a similar fashion, I will tell you, no matter who the quarterback is, Mizzou is not going to lose to Mississippi State. I will take that to the grave.
He's pretty serious.
I mean it.
I'm with you. I don't think that there are many scenarios in which Mississippi State knocks off the Tigers. What do you think about the Oklahoma game?
I think the Oklahoma game is very compelling. There is a lot to look at. There's a lot of history between these teams, which automatically makes it a closer game. As you know, rivalry games are hard to win. The Mizzou versus Kansas, they're going to find a way to be competitive.
Yep.
Mizzou versus Oklahoma is going to be very similar. Mizzou versus
Especially
Arkansas.
it's in Norman this year.
And we haven't won in Norman since 1966. It's been a long time. So there's an element of we haven't been able to do this in a while. There's also the element where Mizzou, historically, over these last 2 years under Drinkwitz, has not fared well in away games. Now, they did take a scrimmage trip to Lindenwood. They put in some extra preparation. But is that enough where you can say that this regime, right, this current staff, is able to win on the road and accomplish a feat that hasn't been completed since the 60s? That's where you run into a problem. Now, if you look at roster, I think Mizzou has an elite edge. If we're looking at the roster between the teams.
Yeah.
I believe
not just an edge, an elite edge.
An elite edge, right? And you'll see that on the you'll see that on the Tiger Kickoff.
There's a lot
show.
of Easter eggs in this, yes.
I believe that this team can pull it off. I think that it is going to be one of our statement wins. A lot of people talk about the lower strength of schedule and say there's a lack of opportunity for statement wins, where it's like maybe you've lost 3 games, but you beat Alabama. I think Oklahoma is a game where you win that game on the road, and it boosts your ability to get into the college football playoff. I think when we get to that point in the season, this will be a must-win game.
You're also talking about a stretch here of 2 straight road games,
Yep.
2 home,
Yep.
2 back-to-back on the road again. So you're playing 4 out of your 6 last games on the road.
Yeah.
And for the Tigers, again, we talked about, they've had struggles on the road. Last year, the Tigers looked like they were going to be cruising going into Texas A&M. They had survived Vanderbilt, and that was, if you guys were watching that game last year, a wild game that went into double overtime that the Tigers were able to pull out. Thank you, Blake Craig. And Luther Burden had a touchdown back there.
Yeah.
But then, they just were not prepared to go on the road. And the road is going to be a majority of the second half of the Tigers' schedule. Again,
It's gonna
6
decline
straight
the year.
home games to start the season. And then when things really start to matter, when the pressure starts to ramp up, you have to win on the road. And that's what it's going to be. I think that people, too, right now, like last year, a lot of the expectations were, all right, the Tigers, they return Brady Cook, they return Luther Burden, Theo Weiss, Brett Norfleet, all these weapons. They got a new defensive coordinator. We didn't know exactly what the defense was going to be, but we figured out it was going to be good after 2 straight shutouts of their first 2 opponents. We're like, all right, this Tiger team is going to be in the college football playoff. And then they weren't, right? And I think people this year have 0 expectation of the college football playoff. And I think it's important to keep in mind that if the Tigers go out and win 10 games in the SEC, they are going to be in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you think the strength of schedule is, with 12 teams, if you are a team in the SEC and you win 10 games, if Mississippi State comes out and wins 10 games, they will be in the college football playoff in the SEC.
If that were to happen, one of those 2 would be Mizzou. Just so we're clear. Even in the universe where they go 10-2, they don't beat the University.
Yeah, where you're doing something by it.
Right.
But again, I think the Tigers will probably drop at least one of Auburn, Oklahoma, or Vanderbilt.
This isn't a 12-0 team. They're going to drop between Texas A&M and Bama. I think they drop 1.
Yeah.
And
I mean, there's a high potential to drop both of those 2.
And I think that this is a team, if you win on the road in Oklahoma, you're a fringe possible competitor for the playoffs, but a lot of things outside of your control have to go right.
I think if you are Missouri sitting with 3 losses, I think, like you said, will be a fringe top 15. Maybe you get into that top 12. Maybe you're in the college football playoff. But again, you're going to need help from outside factors.
And that's just because of the lack of statement wins. Like you look at the schedule, you don't have high enough competition where you can say any team would have lost because you're playing top 10 competitors. You're not.
I mean, if you play Georgia, if you play Ole Miss,
Yeah.
like the other thing that you have to keep in mind too with Missouri is you hate to say it, but it does matter. Missouri is not one of those programs that you think of when you think college football from
Which
a
is
national perspective.
Crazy after 2 straight 10-win seasons.
I mean, I was listening to a clip the other day that got me pretty fired up. That was saying that Mizzou doesn't belong in the SEC.
I saw that too.
And I don't understand that at all. I mean, so even within your own conference, you have teams that are looking past you and looking past the accomplishments that you have. Again, Missouri, their first 2 years in the SEC, they went to the SEC championship game. They lost both times.
Yeah.
But again, SEC East champions, 2 straight years entering the conference.
And then you look at the last 2 seasons, it's teams that you've beaten whose fan bases say Mizzou doesn't belong here. They're not the competition level. The Rock M is Conference USA style.
Oh my gosh.
How do you look at this environment? 1 loss at home in the last 2 years. How can you see that and say this is not a team that can keep up at this competition level? We're wrapping up our show here where we've got one last surprise for you. It's in a box. It's next to Jacob Siciliano. Would you like to show off the wheel?
I mean, we talked about it, guys. The wheel of misfortune.
As he's opening that, I'll explain the rules. This is for our segment of the show. Take it to the grave. Woo! If you are confident in a take and you're a Missouri beat writer, best of luck. You're going to be challenged to take your take to the grave. If you're willing to die on that hill, if you're willing to fall on your sword. For example, I say there's no way Mizzou loses to Mississippi State. In this first episode of the show, they'll be challenged to put a take together for this upcoming season. After that, the challenges will be week to week. If they are wrong, they will have to answer to the wheel. They'll spin the wheel. We're going to put some vile punishments on here for them to have to do, and we'll show it on the broadcast.
I mean, just look how much packaging they have for this wheel.
There's a lot of dangerous
they're
potential.
Being safe. They're being extra safe.
There's a lot of dangerous potential in this wheel. If you're right, you get a point, and we'll tally them up by the end of the season to see who knows ball the best. But this is the official wheel of Take It to the Grave that we are unboxing now. So Quentin, Zach, Chase, this is the beginning of the end for you. Because when you take your take to the grave and you're wrong, this is the tool we will use to enact justice. Are you excited for the segment?
This might be the most excited I've been for a segment that we have here. Wow, there's a lot of pieces of this.
I didn't really, I thought a wheel was just like,
it's like IKEA, but for punishment wheels. I think too, for our viewers that are going to be listening on Spotify, basically what I've got here is I just unboxed this giant circular thing that is white right now with a bunch of pieces, nuts, and bolts of torture and pain with a dry erase marker and our little dry erase eraser.
Yeah.
Is that what would you call it? Yeah, it's dry erase eraser. But for our viewers on YouTube, and you will be able to see this on Spotify as well, if you listen to Spotify, this spinning wheel right here. It's not spinning yet, but it will be.
The wheel.
You're going to be hypnotized by the vile things our beat writers will have to do if they get their takes wrong. So if you're listening to this, Zach Sweet, Quentin Corporal, Chase James, don't be wrong.
Don't be wrong.
Don't be wrong. Because all it takes is this pen and a punishment that Tyson and I will come up with. Tyson once made a man run 88 laps and drink milk and dump out his water.
Sure did.
For like nothing.
He bet against the Celtics.
That's basically nothing. There will be punishments. Beware. Be ready. And be ready to catch the new season of the Tiger Kickoff Show, which kicks off tomorrow. 4:10 p.m. we film. We'll get it out to you that night. And you'll be able to watch and laugh and learn and see this wheel. And hopefully some Missourian beat writers in tear.
Thank you so much for watching the first episode of the Tiger Kickoff Show podcast live from the shed. We will catch you in the next one. First episode of the Tiger Kickoff Show drops on Monday. You'll be able to go down into the description right now, find our Instagram, our Twitter. You can find the YouTube channel where episodes will be posted. We're so excited. Jacob, are you excited?
I'm so freaking excited, Tyson. You have no idea how excited I am.
I'm excited. Travis is excited. John Anderson is excited.
John Anderson is excited. He's
So-
excited about this too.
Oh yeah, which means you should be too. Don't miss out. We'll see you there. MIZ.